Hey. Hello, and welcome to the Melancholy Coaching podcast. I'm Fran, your NLP coach, and I'm thrilled to welcome a productivity and accountability coach who helps women unleash the power within by channeling their inner superwoman. Coach Lee guides women to stop pouring from an empty cup, recognize the hidden pockets of time in a busy day, and pursue their goals with clarity, consistency, and confidence. Coach Lee, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I've got a couple of questions for you, and we'll just have a little chat around that if that's okay with you.
Of course, I'm down.
Amazing. Right, so the first thing that I'm really curious to know is what does it mean to channel your inner superwoman, and how can listeners start applying that mindset um, after hearing this podcast?
Well, first you have to kind of like tap into yourself. You got to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of yourself to kind of know who you are. Because in order to channel something, you have to know what it is to bring it out. But essentially, it's getting to the core of you. Who are you? What is your identity? Not necessarily the roles that society has given you, wife, mother, entrepreneur, employer, niece, whatever it is, but who you are. Yes, you can be defined by those things, but oftentimes we let society kind of like put us in a box, and don't put yourself in a box. If you want to be big and loud and bold, be that. So channeling that inner superwoman is kind of turning inward first to know who you are, the roles you play, how you want to be identified, how you want to identify, and then bringing that out and showcasing that to the world.
See, identity level and things like identity are like very, very fascinating to me because until I actually did coach training myself, and because I'm more on the neurolinguistic programming side, but since I did that, I didn't have any idea that we could have different identities. I understood personas or characters, but I didn't realize that we can take on identities even from when we're very, very young by the things that we're told or what people call us, or you're a good girl, or you're this, or you're that, and you take it on as an identity. It's not necessarily what you would choose to be or who you would choose to be. So it still blows my mind that,
Yeah, and I did a lot of CBT, so cognitive behavioral
right,
therapy, like the CBT coaching training.
yeah, yeah. So women, because predominantly you're working with women, is it predominantly, or you just always work with women?
Predominantly, I've helped a couple men, but it's predominantly women because typically men don't have that issue. They're okay with being loud and being bold and being themselves, and they don't let society define roles. Oftentimes, it's us women that have that issue. So here to help men too,
Yeah.
but it's predominantly women.
Yeah. Okay. So for any women listening to this podcast, what's what's like, how would they start applying that mindset? What's
Ooh.
something that they could do, just a little thing that they could do?
So a thing that I love to say is if you can change your perspective, if you can change your mindset, you can change your life. And so perspective is how you're looking at things. So how are you looking at yourself? How are you looking at the roles that you play? And then how can you change your thoughts around that? If you don't like the thought of being only known as a mother, or only being known as an entrepreneur, or only being known as X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank, whatever it is for you, how can you change that? Who else are you and what do you want to bring out and showcase? And so I guess the tiny tip, which isn't so tiny, it's tiny in words, but in action it might be a little bit more, is change how you're looking at things. Because if you start changing how you look at it, you'll start changing how you think about it. And then as a result, that thing itself will change. So if you stop looking at things as, for example, with productivity, if you stop looking at productivity as being hard, then you will stop thinking about it being hard. And as a result of that, it will no longer be hard. So change how you look at it, change how you think about it. And then as a result, that thing itself will start to change.
And it's actually knowing that that's possible,
Yeah.
because these things sound easy, don't they? Like you said, they're kind of, we can comprehend these words. It's knowing where to start, but
Yeah.
also knowing that it's actually a possibility, and that it is a choice that your mind can make.
100%.
Um, I kind of went through a lot of my life because I'm a woman in my 50s now, so I went through a lot of my life just thinking that things were for other people and not for me, and that that was okay. I didn't realize that other things were possible, other thoughts were possible, or I think I was just kind of molded into the roles that I'd taken on. And
Yeah, it's
I
kind
was
of the
quite
difference
happy.
between yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of the difference between a growth mindset or a like a limiting
Yeah.
beliefs or
I had a fixed mindset and didn't realize, because I didn't realize there were other mindsets possible. And I was actually very happy um, with what I was doing, with being a mother and being a carer. And it was only when things changed, life
Mhm.
changed, my children were older, I sort of thought, well, what do I do now? I seem to
What
lose
else?
all, yeah, I seem to lose all sense of identity. And I think that that can happen to women at various stages in their lives. So it can happen to younger women as well. You might change career, or you might move, and then it's like, well, now who am I? Your circle of friends may have changed, or your networking's changed, or your location, and these all play a part in our identity, I believe as well, because we take on what's around us and what people say to us. So it's
100%.
knowing that this is possible. So
Yes.
you're here to tell women it's absolutely possible to do this.
Yes. Thinking that it's possible, knowing that it's possible, believing that it's possible, and then it's gonna be possible.
Yeah, amazing. I love this. So thinking about thinking about a woman who's interested in putting herself first, because that's not always easy either. So thinking about a woman who's interested in putting herself first, what's a daily habit that you would recommend?
Ooh, my favorite habit is doing a to-do list. So if you're looking
Oh,
to put yourself first, for some people, and starting out especially, you have to put you on a to-do list. So making a to-do list to say where are you going to pour into you. For me, I start my mornings out, my devotional, my personal development, reading, my workouts. So planning that, scheduling it, understanding the non-negotiable thing that's going to be put in you first. Is it a daily thing? Is it a weekly thing? Is it a monthly thing? We want to make it a little bit more than a monthly thing, but maybe you have that one thing, like maybe you get a massage every month in addition to these other self-care practices that you have throughout the month, but that's like your more deeper, spa time or something to that effect. But I would start with challenging you to make a to-do list, like putting you on the to-do list. Is it, I just want to spend 30 minutes reading. I just want to sit in silence for 10 minutes. Maybe it's a workout. Maybe it's taking yourself to lunch, coffee, or whatever the case may be. But if you schedule it, you're more likely to do it. And you have to remember that you are important. And so when you see you on the to-do list, don't neglect you for this other thing that's more important. Make sure that you kind of know what that is.
yeah, I like that, because I love lists. I make lists all the time.
Me
I
too.
make lists in books. I make lists on lists. Like, it's just, and I like pen and paper as well. So I do make a list. It would never have occurred to me to actually include myself. Maybe the grocery shopping, or, getting the car serviced and things like that, but not actually like practical things, but not
Yeah.
actually like putting myself on there. Um,
And
and
that's the
then,
thing, especially if you're a list person, if you're so
yeah,
used to making the list and only doing what's on the list, if you don't put you on the list, you can't check you off because you're like, I'm sticking to my list. So where am I in the midst of it? I'm not on the list, so I don't do it.
and if for anybody listening, if you think that you're not a list person, then you will have things in your mind, like you maybe start the day thinking, oh, I just put the coffee machine on and I've got these appointments. So you've still got a list going.
Yeah.
There's something somewhere where you can include yourself, isn't there?
Yeah. But that also with that, I would challenge you that if you think you're not a list person, also think about how many things you forget, and therefore you likely do need a list. It could be digital, it could be voice notes to yourself. I'm a combo person, I'm a pen and paper, but also a tech person in terms of my list. I start messy pen and paper, then translate it to digital so that it's on my phone, it's on my computer. I have it at work. I have it with me at all times so I don't lose the notebook because I used to be a sticky note person and then the sticky note was somewhere or got lost. But I challenge you that if you're not a list person, if it's not pen and paper, what's the way that you remember? If you're a calendar person, like putting you on the list, i.e., putting you on the calendar. So same concept, maybe different method of execution.
I like it that you mentioned voice notes, because I do leave myself voice notes. If I'm out and about, I use things like WhatsApp or just a voice recorder on my mobile phone, because many of us have got mobile phones on us. Whether
Yeah.
we look at them or not, we've got some kind of communication device with us, and you can actually do that. You can make a chat with yourself even, like on things like Messenger and WhatsApp, and leave yourself a voice note. So I do like that. I do that quite a lot. Um, like, hey Fran, remember this, that, and the other. But imagine that if you, by including yourself on a list, you actually left yourself, maybe you want to leave yourself voice notes, and you left yourself voice notes of like something really nice. Like, you could use the list as well to say something nice about yourself.
Like, note to
Even if you,
self, remember that this
yeah,
wonderful thing happened today.
yeah. So whether that's digital or you're writing it down, that would be a lovely thing as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I
Because that's
have
all.
this
Yeah, go
bowl.
on.
This is like my
Ah,
gratitude bowl. So when like good things happen, I try to remember to write it down and put it in here. So at the end of the year, I can pull it out and just like go through and read them. Those little small moments that you forget about that on that day, like touched you. I don't put something in it every day. I put, some days it might have two or three things in there. It might be a week before I put another one in there. But I try to write down, those opportunities that popped up that you didn't know about, that raise, that opportunity, that, lesson that I thought this was going to be bad, but look how it turned out. Like those little, pretty much like those little God weeks, those little nudges or reminders that, hey, remember this, because you're going to forget about it next week. But at the end of the year, kind of as you reflect over the year, you read back and you be like, oh, I remember this. Or what was that? So, yeah.
yeah, and it gives your mind all those lovely things to think about. Instead of potentially things that don't quite go your way, or
Mm-hmm.
negative thoughts or things like that. It reinforces, that good things do happen, and you've done good things.
Yeah.
So I love that as well, having some kind of gratitude bowl or jar. Um, that's something that I've often thought about starting, and I haven't actually started it. And I talk a lot about gratitude.
I've done various iterations of it. I tried to do the, write three things that you're grateful for every day. And I did
Yeah,
that for like, 30, 45 days. And then I'm like, okay, it felt like more work to remember the things that I was grateful for. And then I was like, okay, maybe one a day. And then it kind of became to where now I kind of try to pause and remind myself throughout the day of, something good, especially when something bad happens and, you try to get an attitude or you think something's going to ruin your day. You're like, wait a minute, this good thing happened earlier today. This moment
yeah,
isn't a defining thing. And so I kind of ended up with the bowl to write down like those bigger things so that at the end of the year, I can kind of look back over the year and just kind of like smile as I'm starting to think and plan for the new year. Like if these things happen
yeah,
that maybe I intentionally sought out or didn't, what can I, start putting out into the air for
yeah.
what's
And
next?
welcome it in.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that as well. It's also reminded me of something else, that there's no right or wrong to this. It just is. So if you try something that doesn't, it's not really your vibe, it's okay to change it. It's okay to try something else. These are all suggestions, and they're a way that we know works, because
Yeah.
it's worked for us and it's worked for people that we work with. It's worked for clients that we help. Um,
And that's the thing that I love about, coaching in and of itself. And especially like with me, I do mostly one-on-one coaching. Well, not really mostly. I do only one-on-one coaching because I want you to figure out what it is that works for you. Because sometimes in group settings, sometimes you get lost in the sauce or you're quiet and reserved and you sit back and you're like, well, they said that I have to do it this way, but it's not working for me. And so bringing you to the front, i.e., finding that inner superwoman within you, figuring out what it is that's inside of you and that's specific to you that might work for you. It might also work for me. Or maybe it only works for me in terms of like work, but it doesn't work for me in life. And so figuring out what it is that works for you is important. So yes, I very much echo like what we're saying are suggestions. They may or may not work for you, or you might have some adaptation that you're like, well, maybe I don't write a list, but every morning as I'm making my coffee, I do this checklist of what's going on today and that works for me. Hey, we're not knocking it.
yeah. We're here to offer accountability. So as
Exactly.
coaches, because obviously we're both coaches, so
Exactly.
um, we're here to offer accountability. So by that one-to-one coaching that you do, that's a bespoke package for somebody. That's very powerful and very deep work that you can
Yes.
do with a particular person. And by that as well, they're not on their own, because that accountability will be there. Those milestones, those progresses, or that transformation is what you're
Yeah.
offering, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's how when I came up with like, we get to choose our coaching name. That's how I came up with productivity and accountability coaching. Like the focus is the productivity aspect, simplifying it, figuring out what works for you. But in order to have that, what we often lack is that accountability, that support of someone checking in with you, checking in on you to help you journey through that process. So very much so that accountability.
Yeah, I love that. Um, I want to know what's next for you. So you are a coach, and within your coaching, what's next?
Ooh, what's next? More of getting the message out.
Yeah,
The thing that I love to say is that I'm here to make an impact and I want to change the game of productivity. And so I want to change the way that people, like I said, that perspective, that mindset in their lives. I want to change the way that people look at productivity and the way they think about it so that their life can change as a result of it. Because productivity isn't complicated. In fact, we do stuff all the time. But are you doing things that are going to help you be the best version of yourself, move you closer to your goals? Be more efficient, be more effective, make that impact if that's your desire. And so for me, what's next is continuing to show up, to be bold. One thing that I was reading about or thinking about kind of like last week as I was starting to plan for this upcoming month is being more bold, being more disruptive, and not in a negative way of being more disruptive, but you know how
yeah,
you have those contrary views to what potentially other coaches who do the same thing as you think, or the gurus say. And I have some of those viewpoints, and I'm like, I need to be more vocal about them because people are stuck thinking that it has to be this way when it doesn't. And so I think what's next for me is continuing to share the word, continuing to share the message, but also to be bolder, to be louder, to know what it is, i.e., channel my inner superwoman and bring that out more and not shrink myself.
which is also a very easy thing to do, isn't it? Just to
Yes.
shrink yourself to
Getting
fit.
comfortable.
Yeah. And I think that any opinions and things like that, obviously, as long as they're not to detriment of others, we're not here for that. But if
100%.
they're opinions, kind of they're all valid in their own way. Because if you have a North Star and you have a purpose, so your purpose is to help women channel their inner superwoman. So you've got a purpose of the productivity, the accountability and everything. The values will then align with that, and your voice can speak loudly about that message. That's what we're talking about. It
Exactly.
doesn't necessarily mean completely controversial or anything like that, because I believe that even as coaches, there's room for all of us, and as women, there's room for all of us too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, right. This has been very, very, very interesting because I feel like, there's always so much to kind of delve into. But what I'd like to say is that you are on social media as at
Yes.
legally.me.
Yes.
So anybody interested in finding out more about you and what you do, that's how they can find you. Is there any particular social media or platform where you're usually found?
Um, Facebook, I guess Instagram would probably be the most active, but also I have a Facebook like page, TikTok, and a little bit on YouTube. So, but yeah, it's at legally, which is LEGALLEE.me everywhere. A nod to the fact that I'm a full-time criminal defense
YouTube's
attorney.
my thing, right? YouTube's my thing. So I'm going to find you on YouTube,
Okay.
definitely. Um, right. So thank you.
Thank you for
That's
having me.
That's okay. You're very welcome. The message that we can't pour from an empty cup and to put ourselves first is powerful. And again, it's one of those things that I've heard. I don't even know where I ever heard it from. I feel like I've known it for the longest time. You can't pour from an empty cup, but it's just words unless you know how. It's just
Exactly.
words or it's for other people if you don't realize you can claim it too.
Exactly.
And that's what you're here to help guide people. So to all the women listening, and potentially some of other people as well listening, you deserve to reclaim your time and pursue your goals. Um, and we're saying women because Coach Lee predominantly works with women. So for all of those curious to know more, again, at legallee.me, you can find Coach Lee. Um, And I love talking to other coaches because I really am a strong believer in that it's collaboration over competition and that there's a
Exactly.
place for all of us because we've all got our own unique voices and messages to share. Um,
Exactly.
so if you're interested in more content like this, be sure to visit, and I'm going to promote myself now. So this is www.melancholycoaching.com, and it's melancholymentor actually.com, and follow us for the latest updates. I've down with two things because I actually started out doing radio dramas on YouTube. So I've got a radio drama and a radio play channel, which is called Melancholy Mentor, and it comes from kind of classic literature. Um, so when I retrained as a coach during COVID, I took up the name Melancholy Coaching. So sometimes I kind of say one, but I mean the other. So I've
They
actually
both
got,
apply.
yeah.
See,
So
that's
I've
part of your
actually
identity.
I know. So I've actually got a couple of channels. So one is like radio dramas for creativity, and the other one's for coaching. So I presume that your YouTube channel that you've either started or, has it been going a while? Is it purely for coaching or for you for getting your message out there?
Yeah, coaching. Essentially I upload like I do like a weekly live and I upload that and then like some YouTube shorts. I haven't really delved fully into the YouTube world to really say that I'm going all in there, but at least trying to put some stuff up and then if I'm
Yeah.
interviewed on other podcasts and things like that and I'll upload those there as well.
Okay. That's fine because it's a way of people finding you.
Exactly.
For transparency, again, for anybody listening, Coach Lee and I don't actually know each other in person. We met online, didn't we?
Yes,
So
and we're
we
across the world from each other.
I know because I'm based in the UK on the South Coast and you are not.
No, I'm in the US.
Yeah, which is amazing. So saying that, do you work with women within the US or would it be international?
International as well. The beauty of virtual, the beauty of the pandemic, which is when I also started. I know you pivoted during the pandemic, but I started during the
Mm.
pandemic, and so everything has pretty much been virtual for me.
Yeah, okay. So this is how we can communicate now is like via the wonderful world of the internet and connection, which is amazing, isn't it? Um,
Yes, yes,
so thank you so much for joining me, Coach Lee. Let's do this again.
yes. Thank you for having me.
That's okay, you're very welcome. And I'm going to come and find you on YouTube. And I'm going to ask anybody listening to come and find Coach Lee at legally.me.
Thank you.
Thank you.